good day to everyone. For dog's sakes, what do I mean with today's title? And can you hear me loud and clear? Please let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I will have to adjust my volume. So, what am I saying? For goodness gracious, for the love of the children, stop the opiate epidemic. And as a former opiate user, prescriber, survivor, I am having to, well, it's the last days of the settlement of the class action, apparently. And it's been like 8 years at least that I've been a part of this thing. And thank God it's been 5 years now, coming up in March. So 2 months shy of 5 full years I've been off of Oxycontin, but it was over 10 years that I was prescribed to it. And as I've had to be reminded and reminisce over the last several days, having to submit a new claims form after the last law firm that had been representing me out of Calgary, somehow something happened and it folded, or the guy died, or they ran away with the money or part of the money. I have no idea, but all of a sudden it was going to settlement, and then it was like, oh no, this Haggerty law no longer exists, and now it's going to the court. Now all of a sudden there's this other company on the other side of the country that's taking care of it, and we've had to go through it. This deadlines come, so like the last several days I've been refilling out this stupid ridiculous form, and basically reliving the entire process of the darkest days of my life, going through the opiate addiction, the prescribed drugs, getting cut off of them by doctors, then still being physically addicted. So then you buy stuff off the streets, and then a couple of times ended up that was laced with the fentanyl. So then I was like, could tell that I was about to overdose. So I had to drive myself to the hospitals twice. And the relevance of that is that in this legal process now, for each time that you potentially were overdosing and it's documented at the hospital, it gets you a little bit more claim, I guess. And then now I also have to go around to an ex-girlfriend's family and ask for a letter from them vouching that they fired me because I was an opiate drug addict, and that's why the relationship didn't work out. And that also gets me more claim in this class action lawsuit. So it's like literally like, yay, I get to go to the hospital and like track down. The more times I was here, that maybe like, was there one or two I was blacked out that, when they came in, I don't remember. And so it's not 2, is it 3 or 4? Yeah, hopefully, so that I could get more money. Yay. Like fingers crossed. Like, no, just all right. Trying to get a little sense of humor out of it all. But as you can see, also, right, I'm talking with my mom about it. She's helping me, and she's taken the documents of it all and collected it all for me throughout the years, and also lived it all along my side. And thank God for my parents. I probably would not be here today without their support throughout it, and wouldn't be 5 years off of it without their love and support throughout it all. But point of what I was getting to with that, reliving the darkest parts of it, because it's like, oh, were there any suicide attempts? Were you suicidal? It's like, well, thank God I never actually acted upon it. But you got to that point where it was like, it was this vicious cycle of desperation, of chasing like the getting that fix of your prescribed pill, then like the withdrawal of it all, and then just like the fear and like the fear of having to relive it each day, and it's never going to change, and becomes hopelessness, and you have to just break that cycle and decide to get off of it and to take programs to get help. And that's another aspect of it, is that I have to go around to the 5 or 6 different drug treatment programs, facilities that I also went through in that 10 years now. And I have to get a slip from each one of them, because, hey, the more the merrier, that little bit more that I might be and claim to, who knows? Probably the lawyers are going to take it all, but you never know. Or maybe they already ran it. I don't know, but that's what my life has been the last few days again, and is going to be again later today, as well as probably tomorrow. And then I don't know, I'm supposed to also be working with a friend doing roofing or siding, so we'll side about that in a little bit, I guess. But in the meantime, I found this gem of alchemy, and it was in the depths of my high-flying opiate cloud nine deliriousness, I don't know, party days, I guess. Anyways, that I also discovered experimenting with electrolysis and alchemy, and that there was something so much more to it, and that the drive to get off the drug, to figure out what this stuff was and is, and make sense of it all. And this video here, I can't believe survives. It's about 8 or 10 years old. And it was at like the height of my usage, but that's beside, well, it's not beside the point, because, well, the video camera is sideways, because I'm pretty sure I was so effed up at the time I was passing out as I was recording this a couple of times. That's why I'm going to be playing the videos on silent. But what it shows and documents is just crazy, because all that this is it's the first time I ever plugged in one of the Keshi Magrav coils, and I put it on the anode side, pure copper, triple solenoid coil there that you see in the middle. Also, it's also all the wires going up. That's all just one copper coil going into one anode positive outlet. And then on the cathode side was a silver coin at the very top that's out of the picture at this reference of it. But I will play it, and then I will play another video of it that I also recorded of it at the, I guess, like an hour or two later. And it's mind-blowing. It's alive. Like, I think, well, you guys and gals and everyone in between, tell me what you think. Is it alive? I turned on the fan for this one. Let's see. Oh yeah, I've been involved in the actual class action lawsuit for 8 years now. 8 years. This is the third time or fourth time we've had to resubmit. Just mind blowing, insane. Right? Like, oh, Bernie's nodding off there. Oh dear. Oh, I'm gonna like wake up in about 30 seconds, I think. But while I'm nodded off here, Oh, okay. I guess it stopped. It ran out. That one's only a minute long. The crazy parts I want to point out are the different exclusion zones. The very top of this water, it's kind of, it appears a little milky, but it's also clear. It's the hydrogen bubbles and the very bright LED lights that's creating it, making it look milky. But then there's the second segment covering the bottom half of the Magrav coil and the bottom half of the jug there. And it's the white, pure white monoatomic. And then below it, the same size, a second layer of these different colors of green oxides that form and cluster and literally look like plants that start growing. It's wild. So I'll play this one more time, but actually on silent because that was kind of annoying. All right. You can see here this like the blob of monatomics moving, but like doesn't go all the way down. No, it just stays at this layer here. And they'll either shoot to the top and then come straight back down, never staying in the exclusion zones, each type going to another. And like those green tubes, am I able to pause it here? Like, look at these different tubes and clusters at the bottom. They just are suspended and they float, and it's just the strangest stuff I've ever blew my mind. Still blows my mind. Like, that's just a copper anode. That's all that is. But as 3 triple solenoids, it turned into what looks like life with a little bit of electricity. Like, is this primordial soup? Is this the goo of creation and the universe here? Like, you can see this cluster moving right there. If you can see my mouse, I'm not sure if you can see my mouse. Oh, maybe you could. Can see my mouse. It's these clusters here. And you have this layer here. And you see this little guy that just fell there. That was like up there. And that's what's crazy is this should be copper oxide and like oxidizing and be turning like a blue. Yeah, it turns teal, but like that green and then this like forest green with the tealiest green, greeny teal, barely blue. And look at how red, hyper red the coil itself is. It's crazy stuff. Still working on putting my thesis together of what it all means, but that's going to be coming out in my book. A book called Mist, Mirrors, and Rainbows, baby. Minus the baby. All right. So, right, like, is that giving life? I think so. I believe so. Like, these plasmoid clusters that grow, like, literally the clusters of these metals and different elements and ormus, GANs, monoatomic stuff. They're referred to as plasmids, plasmoids, and plasma, which, isn't it alive or it's all self-organizing, seems conscious. Okay, so that's that one. Now for the longer video. Of course I can find it. I found it. Is it loading? Is it playing? I think this is, yes, it is. This is the new one. Okay. All right. So this is a little bit longer. You can see that it's cleared up a little bit towards, no, there's more clusters, but the top seems a little bit clearer just with more clusters everywhere. Once again, there's BurnEye nodding off. Like it was ridiculous. And I do not look forward having to physically go to every single drug rehabilitation center over the next 2 days to go get records of my attendance. But hey, maybe with any luck, be able to inspire others there to pull through and to actually take it serious and to get off it, because I did, and so can you. And don't succumb. Don't let it take your soul. Your life is worth more than just becoming a statistic. All right, so here you can see my Alchemy Lab / silk screening print shop. The first Alchemy Lab. It was about my 5th iteration of the silk screening shop, and I'm currently working on establishing my 9th iteration. Hopefully this month, coming up in February here. Now, the cool part here is you can see all the line interference on the videos, and it's around every single bucket, and that is part of this plasma field created by the GANs / Ormus / monoatomic / plasma field. And as it will cycle through, it will go to every little bucket that I have. You can see each one will have the disturbance. Here's another one. You can see the lines going and the different interference patterns that happen in these plasma fields. There again, in this random bucket, that one wasn't even plugged into electricity. And once again, we've got, look at that guy. Isn't that something? It was alive. It is alive. That SOB was alive. I still have that coil, even though this experiment was recorded 8 or 10 years ago now. I think about 10. And yeah, I love plugging metals into electrolysis reactors. It's a fun time. All right, what else did I want to share today? This one? Oh, this is the very first one or the very last one? It's only 11 seconds long, but it's just so beautiful and mesmerizing, isn't it? It's alive. Okay. Righto. Now I know what we're gonna show next here. Let us show a couple pictures, and then we'll end her off with some Bob Green here, because shout out to Bob, he's the man. And also in 2024, look forward to DJ Bernie Slanders AI music coming out soon. DJ Bernie Slanders, yeah. And if you donate, you can help kickstart that career. What we're looking at here is several different fields of exclusion zones and giant clouds, nanotubes all forming. Some interesting things. Don't know. Oh, there we go. Self-organizing spirals happening even in square buckets. You still get the spirals to the center. Entropy. Here's another square rectangle bucket. Spirals upon spirals of layers. And there's like straight exclusion zones down all the way through. It's quite fascinating effects. Here's another one. Another rectangle, yet we got a spiral. Another rectangle, a spiral. And here we got it turning into a double. 1 into 2. And so this right here, this is something else. This documents the sulfur state that the ancient alchemists speak of. And you can see at the top, there's this blue oxidized layer. And then at the bottom here, you can see these sheets of this blue layer, and that they were at the very surface. They formed a layer, a barrier that sealed it from the actual seal of the can. And then the can rusted a couple holes. And then when I actually grabbed the can and moved it, it then broke the seal, natural seal here, and then instantly everything from top to bottom turns to the yellow sulfuric state. And that's while this copper is in this pink red state, and when I had sealed it in this pink red state. And you break the seal, and it puts out a layer of this yellow sulfur, and it's on top of the red active macular state that it states it's in. But that's getting deep into Sir Isaac Newton's 7 colors of transmutational metals, and the lesson and book that I'm gonna have to be doing. Oh snap, look at that. Did I just dox my greasy fingerprint? Shit. I don't know. All right, but look at that. Just look at that yellow. It's crazy. What else? Oh, we got another swirl here, just in a Tupperware. Poured some monatomics in, and it turns into these swirling layers. Again, all on its own, the concentric circles. Here we got the red blue. Why is one half blue, the other half red? Why does it always polarize in its oxidization reactions? Like it's a magnoelectric field effect of electrolysis. I don't know. I don't think I've seen anywhere ever discuss it. So hopefully I get that one someday. Here we have a piece of gold chain, and it's connected to 2 copper wires that are insulated and go out of the water into the air and connect to this silver 1-ounce coin. So I've created a circuit essentially between the gold and the silver. And then you can see the cloud of white monoatomic gold, literally this band, form and twist and come around and start pooling with silver over here, and then it would condense at the very bottom. And no electricity in it all, just the silver and gold connected to each other. And could that be the Philosopher's Stone? I speculate, most likely. What else are we looking at? We got another nice exclusion zone. It's monatomic tungsten. What else are we looking at? Oh, see, look at this. I think this is the vessel of a homunculus. This is I have discovered and created how to make the vessels of the homunculi. Like, look at that. Is that not like a head and a face? And then these are all nanotube structures that have grown out of it, like that right there. So here's like a Keshi 1 triple solenoid copper coil. And then this right here was literally just a copper solenoid, triple copper solenoid coil, 1/2 going down. And then it grew like this head and all of these crazy tubes down and like grounded itself. And is that not the vessel of a homunculi? All right. Yeah, I do agree. It looks like seaweed. See if your colloidal silver comes out looking like that. That's toxic. Don't eat it. Don't drink it. Don't rub your hands in it. It will give you heavy metal poisoning. You don't want that. You don't want to die as a blue poisoned smurf, let me tell you. Like, here's another example of the red blue. This was completely all submerged in salt water, and it just decided that this part was going to turn blue, this part red. Like, this is normal copper. Strange things. Different little things that are made. Here it is. Reacting. Just a note. All the different coils I was making back in the day. This was about 6 years ago, I think these pictures were taken. Oh, this one's pretty freaking awesome. I love this because here we have the double Magrav coil on the right, and that's the cathode. So it produces hydrogen bubbles, and then the anode, triple copper solenoid, 3 copper ring spirals down, and then it actually stops right here. This is where it stops. And then it grew itself to the bottom. It just decided to grow. But then it also decided to completely cover itself in bubbles. and the bubbles decided that buoyancy no longer exists, and they just decided that they now live on this thing and decided to grow down, and they decided to grow down and just permanently grow themselves to the ground. And the copper ended here, some sort of black thing formed, and then more bubbles went down. Very strange. Very, very strange. Here's another one. So I actually believe this. Yeah, is that it? I think that is. Oh, I think it is. Like that. Oh, so right here, like me. I think. Yeah, so this guy right here actually grew into that. And it started out as like this. So it just started out as like one of these guys, and I'm holding up. And then it turned blue, and then it started to like grow bubbles all over it. And then it grew more bubbles all over it, and then it grew bubbles downwards and like an arm of bubbles into the ground with a giant black gap that it also just grew. And yes, color is akin to frequency, and that's something we're going to be going a lot deeper into. Just probably not today, as I need to get a few hours of sleep before I have to go to my ex girlfriend's family's restaurant to beg them for documentation of being fired for being an opiate junkie. Right? Like, isn't that just a wonderful task to have to do? Look at this one. So this is actually that there was a jar picture of the same jar reaction where there's this straight exclusion zone in this area here where there's nothing. And now you have a giant cloud of plasma tungsten, because this is a tungsten ring here. And this giant cloud of tungsten that's collected, and then also down there is more tungsten. This was actually like this crazy line that separated the two clouds all the way through the jar. This does not do it justice. Kind of like when you see two different oceans combining, but that was just, it formed more and more as the reaction happened. It was strange. A little tornado almost. Clouds that form. Little plasma clusters. All right. Oh, here we go. Can you see the swirl? That one blew my mind. That was some monatomic silver. I let sit out, or diatomic silver, because it was turning turquoise and blue and oxidized. I let it sit out overnight on a full moon, and I came back in the morning, and it was giant yin-yang spiral all the way through. That was something else. All right. Okay. Let us. And there seems to form many different densities of water and heavy water potentially, and different. Yeah, we'll get into that in another episode. And actually, we'll get into that in the episode that will be and I hit the wrong button. Oh, 1 moment, please. Sorry, everyone. Anywho, I hope everyone has a wonderful week ahead.
You crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just BurnEye. Hey, BurnEye just like last week, huh?
Weekend at BurnEye's.
Is it gonna work? Go! I'm back. All right. Shout out to Sarah, Mindful Exposures, who made that wonderful little clip there. And sorry about that. I definitely hit the wrong button. Let's see if I can get it right this time and not leave you with just Bert and Ernie and the rest of the cartoon goblins. Right. This the one. This is the one. Here's the lovely gentleman. Shout out to Bob. This is next level stuff right here. So I'm gonna let it play for about 5-10 minutes. And this was his stream yesterday or last night. Sure. Yeah, yesterday. Oops.
Apparently,
Guess I gotta add it.
Maybe it's a different guy, but there was a Fred Zopfel that was nominated to be a member of the U.S. Nuclear Safety Research Review Committee in 1990. His literal job, therefore, would be to monitor any nuclear research that could lead to safety issues. Okay. Now, let's look at someone else that did cavitation research, shall we? And this was someone that was a researcher who we referenced in the work that's just been published in Nature Scientific Reports. And that is one Russi Telyarkin. Okay. And I have to say, this is on Stephen Krivitz's Lena reference site on New Energy Times, and it's an incredibly detailed, fine piece of work. And this is Telyarkin, and Stephen met him, I think, a number of times. This is one of his photos of Telyarkin. And to cut a long story short, there's this guy called Putterman. Who is Putterman? Well, you can go and find out about Putterman because he has a whole organization, I think. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, it's the ULCA Putterman Research Group. Sonoluminescence sound into light. This device here, you literally drop it 1 inch and it produces a flash of light, right? You don't have to have ultrasonics or whatever. It just produces a flash of light. This one, you shake and it produces a flash of light. They've got all kinds of devices here that they create this sonoluminescence with. And they talk nuclear fusion. Can one achieve the inverse process? Namely, can the energy of a strong sound wave implode a bubble with such force that it can use to make? Russi Telyarkin claimed the observed nuclear fusion. And it says Faraday, blah, 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 BBC view. Okay, right. To cut a long story short, the US Navy got involved with Telyarkin. The naval labs, apparently, according to the Bubblegate Index here, I think I'm right in saying that they replicated it. Oak Ridge nuclear cavitation confirmation, they uncovered it. This was in 2013, long after he was destroyed. And you've got these characters here, and you can go and look at it, okay, in detail. But the long and the short of it is that it was just maybe we'll see it. So, following blah blah blah, and their colleagues at the Navy Acquisition and Integrity Office, the Navy imposed additional punishments on Telyarkin. The Navy had decided to prohibit Telyarkin from receiving federal funding. The day after the Navy sent the letter to Telyarkin, Adams told Crivet that the Navy was not going to issue any blah blah blah. Here we go. So basically, they didn't properly replicate it. It was the US UCLA here that received the funding. The funding came from the Navy and the Department of Energy, and it's to this person that you saw on the previous website that I was showing you. And essentially, Crivet was directed to Mark Wilson, an official with the Navy's Acquisition and Integrity Office. Basically, the Navy stitched him up, and the conclusion is, when he was asked if he would ever do it again, he says, "I, for one, would not put my family through this again, even if funds came begging." Telyarkin wrote, right? So they basically destroyed Telyarkin. With Leclerc, they invited research at the US Naval Labs. Telyarkin did research at Naval Labs. It's something we were invited to do. In 2012-13 and the MFMP. It would seem that the modus operandi is see what someone knows and try and divert them. And if diverting them isn't successful, put them in a position where they're dependent on funds that ultimately come from you, and then somehow discredit them and pull the plug and make it very difficult for them. I am now appealing to the US Navy to come clean. I asked this without naming you in 2017, in March 2017. You've had 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, nearly 7 years to come clean. Stop stringing everyone along. I know the weapons are probably wonderful. Yeah, really don't want those out. But what we would like is the freedom to explore the element remediation for things like Fukushima, the element synthesis for elements.
So, for those that didn't catch that, this is Dr. Bob Greenier explaining how the Navy Research Department approached him and his work group to work for them. They turned them down, and that documenting these other scientists who did work for the groups, and how the Navy suppressed them and intimidated them, and the death threats. Well, actually, I don't think he's gotten to that part, so I'm gonna let that keep playing. But kudos to Bob for calling out on the Navy to come clean, and all government agencies to come clean on the higher technology that is clean, that they are suppressing and making us fight wars over oil and limited resources, when we could all have clean, free energy that they suppress. And yeah, it's all hydrogen cold fusion stuff out of water. Let Bob keep talking.
That are needed, technologically speaking, for energy production and for waste, other waste and destruction, and for matter manipulation in forms of cold metal forming and these kind of things. Enough already. Stop the games. You've known for since 1956. Okay, maybe you were. Let's say you were stupid, like really, really stupid, and it took you another 10 years, like 1976. Okay, 1976. Yeah, I think there are a number of technologies that are held by a number of countries that use this as a principle, and unimaginable amounts of money are used to prevent this from becoming a mainstream. The choice I had to make at the beginning of 2017 was to know that this had been developed in the 1950s and 60s and to walk away from the field because of its weaponization potential, or to accept that the weapons had already been made, which clearly, in my view, they had, and to try and find a way that enough people understood the basis of this and the fact that it had been understood so long ago, and that there are real practical applications of whatever this is. And I believe it is a complex toroidal charge structure, which is superconducting. It has a fractal toroidal moment, and it's the fractal toroidal moment that's able to interact with matter in incredible and magical ways. But it is just science. It's not magic. It's just science. John Hutchison, I think we're very close to having a full understanding of how he did what he did. It's just logical. It's logical, all of the actions that took place after he showed what he did. And it's logical in the context of this paper here, which shows that they had observed one of the key properties prior to September the 27th, 1956. Prior. So with that, I will ask if there are any questions. We are genuinely fighting an organization, and just to put it in context, in October 2001, the US Air Force asked for a study to be done, which is on the Black Vault. It's the ball lightning study. And they concluded that there was 3 methods. One, forget about it. One is Ken Shoulders' exotic vacuum objects, and the other one is a classified research done by the US Air Force in the 1950s and 1960s. What were they doing with ball lightning based technology? Why was it so important to the US Air Force in the 1950s and 60s? And who did that research? None other than Eric W. Davis of Warp Drive Metrics. Now, who is Eric W. Davis? He's a colleague of Harold Puthoff, who is US Naval Intelligence. I rest my case. Okay. I'm going to see if you have any questions. So, Corky's Goss says, question, can you say what you might speak about at the CS 2024 in June? So this is the Cosmic Summit in June. I would actually like to explore a little bit more about the Great Pyramid of Egypt and how that might be rebuilt and what it might do for the Sahara. And potentially for the whole planet, and its relationship to the Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower, I think, and its back relationship to obviously the sacred geometry. I think solving those mysteries for the people at that conference in a clear and concise way, which is just logical, it's provable, and it meets with all of this magnetohydrodynamic understanding. I think it would be the best gift that I could give that community. Let's see if that's what I'm allowed to do. So Martin Kemp says, so if I just think about maximizing shear, then I'm on my way. Yeah, basically, when you've got a sphere and you've got plasma coming out of the engine's manifold, and it comes in, it's going around in a vortex this way, which also already means you've got shear that way. Now it's going down the sphere, so it's got shear that way, okay? And it goes both that way and then that way. So it has 3-axis shear in that sphere. The water coming in, which is highly moist, hits the high temperature flue gases and flashes to steam whilst it's traveling around in a multi-axis shear, which, when we know the Armstrong boiler, which I gave in my presentation in Zurich,
All right. Well, Bob's channel is at MFMP. That is Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project, or just the @ MFMP. YouTube.com/@MFMP. All right, let's see. One last picture here, because oh my god, it's already 8 a.m. My life. I need to call the lawyer to figure out what I have to get done today. Which horrible chores? Which place first? Yay! Is it the RAM clinic? Is it the opioid addiction center? Is it the smart treatment? Is it the chronic pain center? Is it the opiate dependency program? Is it the ex-girlfriend's family restaurant to get a lawyer or a letter saying that they fired me for being a drug addict? Also university. I get to go to university to get the records that I dropped out of university for also being an opiate drug addict. That also should get me extra claim points and hopefully settlement dollars. But as of right now, it's officially nothing. So hopefully that's not the case, and I should probably get going so I can get that claim form done. It's been the last 3 days of my life, and in between all the streams that I do, of course, somehow I still manage it all. Going forward, I'm not going to be doing streams on Sundays, Mondays, or Tuesdays, most likely. Going to be aiming to get job a few days of the week for the starts of the week. And yeah, anyways, what are we looking at here? That is just all copper. All just copper coils. Yet, like, look at these colors. Look at these colors. Look at these colors and growth. And this one, that's the one that we started the show with the video of it. We have a video here. Let's just see what we have today. Oh yeah, so this jar, this is one of the first times I think I produced luminescence, and these little bubbles kept coming out. This jar I had sealed for, I believe, 4 or 5 days, maybe 6 or 7 at this point, and it kept bubbling, and every one of those bubbles has like a sparkle going through it. It's just crazy. Stoked I got footage of it still. Doesn't really do it justice, but hopefully we can capture some of the sparkling bubbles. The slow moving ones are the ones that actually produce light. There we go. Let's see a couple twinkle maybe. And not just as they go by the it's like a steady flicker in them. Anyways, let's keep her going. This is interesting. So we got gold chain, and see, this is how you can lose $1,500 in gold instantly as it oxidizes and turns to toxic poison that you can do nothing with. Yeah, it's learning the hard way, but it was worth that $1,500 because we watched the oxidized Ormus grow, and it did some crazy things. Look at this. So here's the gold, here's the copper. Here it grows, and it grows more. Oops. This is a video of another homunculus or homunculus vessel. Thank you, John Boy Cat. Dumbledore, William Powles, Rhonda Butterfly, Open Sauce, Ruth Greening, Alberto Hernandez, Shem Jacobs, shout out brother, Wade Wall, Jersey Bob, Goblin Scribe, Just Frank, Candence, Gary Byer, and Boston Deadhead, Mr. Obvious, FGrass72. Thank you for your continued support as a channel member, and I will be adding more channel membership exclusive or bonus content and early access content to a lot of the edits that I'll be doing. Stumbledore, Bob piqued my interest. Yo, I know there's so many. Working and living life sucks. I got to get myself a job as well for several days out of the week here, so there will be a lot less streams coming forward for a little bit, but we will do weekly shows at least 3 days out of the week, if not 4. It'll probably even end up being more. But we'll see how it goes. All right. I probably should turn the volume on for this part of the video. That looks like a giant stalagmite structure. Right, like, okay, so was it in the name of science, or can I also claim that on my freaking opiate claim form? Yeah, I was so retarded and high, I put a $1,500 gold bracelet into some electrolysis. Maybe, you never know. But on that note, yeah, we're gonna call her a day here. Wishing everybody a blessed week ahead, a happy Monday. As you can see, all these jars are sealed, and as those unaware or pretext, these videos are from ranging in age between 8 to 10 years old. The newest one might have been 6. 6 is the youngest video of what I've shown tonight of my experiments. The Bob Greenyer video was recorded in the stream. Oh, I hated that camera. Right, look at this little guy going up and down. Little doodad. But how about that glowing layer at the top there? Like, this. Oops, come on. Here we go. See this right here? This is a layer of glowing bubbles, like a little galaxy. And it stopped about an inch above the water, or below the top of the water line. So it's like there's this cloud, this little galaxy of bubbles suspended and glowing in a sealed jar. Oh, you might actually see some of what I believe being some luminescence going on there. I really wish I didn't have so many background LEDs everywhere in there, because that don't help the case. I'm going to show the galaxy at the bottom of this jar here. A bunch of bubbles floating at the bottom of the jar. Kind of strange.
And then my creations of transmutations.
My creations of transmutations.
In chemistry. Alchemy.
Well, look at that. Look at those different colors of oxidization, of transmutation, of just copper. It's just copper. Look at those greens, those reds, those blues, yellows and oranges, whites, blacks, all colors of the rainbow.
We have
And BurnEye, so chemical
the plasma
oxidization
a little monatomic particle.
Yeah, you can see all the interference,
Sort of plasma field interaction.
All right.
I really have no idea how.
I'm gonna mute my doped out self there. All right. On that note, I think it is finally time. It's color, a night, a day. Good day. Thank you for watching. Please support this broadcast's work, and feel free to hit that super chat or donate via PayPal, or maybe crypto somewhere or something. I don't know. Everything helps, but if not, even liking, sharing, subscribing, do it all. It all helps. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one.
You crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just burning.